A little over a week ago, Team Meat released Super Meat Boy Forever. Fans have known about this game for years now and have been eager to play a sequel to the decade-old classic, the original Super Meat Boy. The reception to the game has been mixed across the board, and after finishing the main story and a lot of bonus levels, I wanted to share my thoughts on it. In my video on the top 10 platformers of 2020, I briefly shared my appreciation for the game, but I didn't really dive into why I liked it. The title of this video is In Defense of Super Meat Boy Forever, but that's not to say I'll spend these 5 minutes countering every point against the game, but rather explain why I appreciate parts of the game that others don't. After doing some research and hearing other people's opinions, I actually found a lot of interesting ideas, and realized that a sequel alienating a portion of the audience isn't that uncommon in video games. Let's get into it. So the art, story, UI, and music are all great, but that's not what people are complaining about. To acknowledge the elephant in the room, Super Meat Boy Forever is an auto-runner. Auto-runners aren't inherently bad, but having this change in gameplay was a strong choice for Team Meat. It left many players who aren't fans of auto-runners unhappy with the sequel, and I understand their disappointment. The first thing is that auto-runners are almost always simpler than regular old platformers. Mechanically, there's less you can do with levels when your character is always running. Every level in Super Meat Boy Forever has you moving from left to right, and there is no variety in that regard compared to the first game. The other thing about auto-runners is that they are associated with cheap, low-quality games. If you look on Google Play or the App Store, you'll find tons of endless runner titles like Subway Surfers or Jetpack Joyride. Not to say that these games are bad, but they aren't the best experiences one could have in video games. That's kind of sad to see for auto-runners because they can do interesting things. There's nothing like the non-stop split-second decision-making you have to do in an auto-runner, because you can never stop going. There's one more problem people have with Super Meat Boy Forever, and that's the randomly generated levels. When you start a fresh file, the game gives you a seed of levels in your campaign. This is the idea behind this sequel, because you could technically play new levels, well, forever. However, it's no news to anyone when I say that randomly generated levels can feel incohesive at times and don't have anything on a finely crafted set of levels made for a proper difficulty curve. So by having randomly generated levels and auto-running against the original's tight precision platforming and deliberately designed levels, it's easy to see why so many felt the way they did. But there were some really great moments I had that could only come from these two ideas, intentionally or not. Let me explain. Firstly, I'd say that Super Meat Boy Forever is more complex mechanically than the original. This is probably thanks to the bigger budget, newer technology, and the new punching and kicks. Now obviously complexity doesn't equal quality, but there were some crazy ideas in here, especially in the late game, that had me smiling at how awesome it all felt. You can chain punches to get across large gaps, kick down to have a fast fall, slow down time, make blocks appear, and even hop between dimensions. The final level is a fantastic gauntlet where everything comes together as you navigate 3 different dimensions at the same time. That's crazy, and really it was just plain fun to experience. It feels like this game was made for already experienced platforming fans who just want more to play, and thanks to the randomness, I'll have a ton to play for a long time. It's actually funny that some of my favorite moments in the game were where I'd find a crack in the level design and skip a chunk of the level for a huge time save. They felt a little like secret exits. So I've called Super Meat Boy Forever a sequel a couple of times now, but I know many people are saying that it's not really a true sequel. I know what they mean by this. They're talking about the gameplay being too far off from what makes the original special to actually be called a sequel. But what actually makes a sequel in video games? At the end of the day, Super Meat Boy is just a regular old precision platformer. It's a great one though, and at the time, it was a new idea, but now there are so many other great precision platformers. I think making a true sequel, like people are saying, to Super Meat Boy would have been kind of a waste of potential. Yes, the team could have made an easy slam dunk of a sequel, but then we would never see the creative ideas of Super Meat Boy Forever. I'd rather see new developers take risk in game making, like the way Nintendo does when they reinvent the wheel for every new 3D Mario game. I don't know which game I prefer out of the two, and it's a hard choice for developers to make, but I hope I've convinced you to at least give Super Meat Boy Forever a chance. Who knows? Maybe you'll even have a little fun. And if not, you can always try The End Is Nigh, a great spiritual successor, by one of the original developers. So what do you think? Did you play Super Meat Boy Forever? How did you feel about it compared to the original? Would you prefer a proper sequel or an experimental title like this one? Please feel free to leave a comment below the video and we can continue the discussion. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing. I make new 5-minute game design videos every week on all things platforming. You can also join my Discord with the link in the description to talk about new video ideas, games, or just hang out with the community. Hope to see you watching the next video. Have a great 2021.